Registration is still ongoing. Use the opportunity to register to vote. On the news this evening, analysts react to activities of Rivers Assembly more than a month after emergency rule. Acquittal, discharge of alleged murderers of police inspector in Kana stirs comments. Senate reschedules screening of new service chiefs. Financial experts speak on removal of Nigeria from Financial Action Task Force. On the foreign scene, thousands trapped in besieged Sudanese city amid fears of mass killings. I'm Sam Chinedu, and the news continues after the break. Welcome back. It's been over a month since members of the Rivers State House of Assembly returned from suspension, but many people say things are still moving slowly. While some residents are getting worried about the pace of work, a political scientist, Dr. Obinna Nwadim, believes that full legislative activities in Rivers State will pick up when the state government fully constitutes its executive council. Dr. Wadi, a lecturer at the University of Port Harcourt, spoke with correspondent Onyekachi Wozu.
I think they came back eager to work. That was why immediately after the suspension, they sat without a full complement of an executive council in which they would work with, and without full and functional heads, particularly political heads in those ministries. It will be difficult for them to perform their function right.
Dr. Wadim said 1 month is not enough time to assess the legislative arm.
I think that it will be too hasty to begin to assess the activities of the assembly, considering the fact that it's just about a month plus that they resumed office. So because government is just picking up, you don't expect much from them. Within the executive, there is no full executive council, and so we won't say that the government has picked up so much as to give the legislature what to do. So it will be too hasty for us to begin to assess their performance post-emergency rule era.
Also speaking, the chieftain of the APC, Chizi Nyomasele, said the pace of work by the state legislators since resumption shows they're trying to be careful.
Even the governor is also taking his time to be able to do that. Of course, you know that when you seemingly come out of a war period, you need to be careful on the selection process. And so I think the assembly is taking it one after the other. They've been meeting, they're trying to reorganize themselves in the face of the new phase they are facing now. I think for me, my assessment is that they are doing well.
Mr. Nyomasele, however, advised them to speed up work considering the time lost during the emergency rule.
But of course, they should also increase their pace because we can no longer wait. Assuming that the proposals of the National Assembly, which is to have the election conducted early enough, that means that we will be witnessing next year a very political year. That means whatever we have done or not done has eaten on our developmental side. And I want the ring road to go round. So I think the Assembly should come up faster, have a meeting with the governor and the chairman, and then they begin to work.
The All Progressives Congress is clearing the air over who leads the party in Rivers State. The party's National Publicity Secretary, Felix Moka, says Tony Okocha remains the recognized chairman of the APC in the state. Speaking during an interview with Nigeria Info FM, Mr. Moka dismissed reports that a court had confirmed Emeka Beke as chairman. He insists that a court has no power to interfere in the internal affairs of political parties.
Chief Okocha is the chairman of our party in Rivers State. That's not under any controversy. Courts do not decide for parties who their national officers are. The party, through its processes, backed by its constitution, have made decisions and declared Chief Okocha as the chairman of the party in the state. And so any journalist or anybody who is still confused about that question, I think is just looking to promote controversy. Otherwise, we are clear. And if tomorrow whatever the party does in Rivers State is done through the office of Chief Okocha.
The APC national spokesperson also defended the actions of the FCT minister, Nyesom Wike, in the APC-led federal government.
The minister of the Federal Capital Territory is a minister of the Federal Republic who today is doing an amazing job in the FCT. The man is doing his job and he should be allowed to do his job. He's also a politician who must politic and engage as he deems necessary, whether in his state or at the national level. That is a minister in an APC government does not mean that he cannot, also engage in his politics. So he has every freedom and right to engage, as he chooses within the framework of the law.
As you may know, Emeka Beke had insisted that he's the authentic chairman of the APC in Rivers State based on a court ruling. Yesterday, also the spokesperson of the Emeka Beke-led APC in the state, Darlington Wuju, told our correspondent that a tenure of the Emeka Beke-led executive was extended to December 2025 by the National Working Committee of the party.
The tenureship of persons elected all over Nigeria on 16th October 2021 was extended by the neck of the party to December of 2025. Bearing any other political undercurrents, the neck of the party, which is the highest, the most powerful organ of our party outside of our convention or congresses, has extended tenure of elected state executives to December of 2025.
A constitutional lawyer, Professor Richard Nwokocha, has clarified legal conditions required to secure conviction in criminal cases. Professor Nwokocha, who is also a lecturer at the Department of Public Law, Rivers State University, made the clarification in an interview with correspondent Emeka Otuka while reacting to the State High Court judgment that discharged and acquitted 12 suspects accused of killing Inspector Christiana Erekere in Taba, Kana local government area. He said the court does not determine cases such as murder based on emotions or sympathy, but strictly on the facts presented before it.
Every crime has a definition. The crime of murder, which was the crime in the instant case, requires two things. That to prove that the accused person did carry out an act and the death resulted from that act. Secondly, you prove that he carried out that act with intent to kill that person or cause the person serious harm. So, if you charge 12 people to court or more, you must show what each of them did that caused the death of the victim. In criminal matters, you are required to prove the guilt of the accused person beyond reasonable doubt.
Professor Nwokocha further explained that in some cases, a person charged with murder may instead be convicted for manslaughter if the killing was not premeditated.
There are cases in which can charge a person for murder and they end up convicting them for manslaughter. And that is where it was shown that yes, they carried out led to the death, but they had no intent or intention to kill the person. Cases of accidents and cases of unintended action that led to death of somebody. At best, where the action is established to have been carried out by the first person is convicted for manslaughter, because the second element of intention to kill or cause bodily harm would not be there. So it would be wrong to convict for murder.
The former first vice president of NBA, John Aikpokpo Martin, says no amount of reform will change the electoral system until the political class genuinely reforms themselves. Aikpokpo Martin made this known in an interview with correspondent Suibi Ruwari while speaking on the ongoing electoral reform process and backed upon by the National Assembly.
No matter the reforms, electoral act has been amended several times. No matter the amendment, until the Nigerian people, particularly the Nigerian in government officials and politicians, decide to change their ways, the election in Nigeria will always be flawed, because it is not more about the law. So it is about the people. It is not necessarily about the law. It's about the people. And until we decide to circumcise our heart to do the needful or to do the right thing at every given time, the reforms will never come to play.
The lawyer also blamed the judiciary for playing a role in the non-implementation of some electoral reforms carried out earlier.
No matter the reforms, electoral act has been amended several times. No matter the reforms, electoral
On his part, the spokesperson of African Democratic Congress ADC in River State, Luckyman Gila, said Nigerians will take seriously the reforms of the National Assembly when the BVAS and IREV start to function.
Just as Nigerians has been clamoring about that our electoral processes need a lot of reforms. If these reforms are carried out, that when we go to vote, there will be beavers, and these beavers will not just be there, these beavers will work, and that results will be uploaded to the IREV right from the polling units. And the IRF portal is secure and it's not tampered with, then Nigerians can begin to have some level of confidence on INEC. But until that day, it's difficult.
A senior advocate of Nigeria, Tuduru Ede, has backed calls for the creation of an additional state in the southeast region. Speaking with correspondent Emeka Otuka, Ede said creating more states in the southeast will promote fairness and ensure equity in the distribution of states across the regions. He said the southeast currently has fewer states compared to other regions.
If you look at the exercises in state creation so far, you realize that the Southeast has actually been short-staged. I think they have just about 5 states. South-South has about 6. Southwest has about 6. Almost all the other regions, I don't think there's anyone that has any less than 6. So Southeast should at least have one more state and bring it as far to all the other regions, particularly in the South-South. They are deserving of an additional state.
On the viability of such a state, the senior advocate expressed confidence that every state in the southeast is resourceful enough to sustain itself.
Whoever has told you that viability of any state is a consideration for state creation is not being sincere. Everybody depends on largesse and handouts from the federal government, monthly allocation. So what makes you think that the Southeast shouldn't have one because of fear of viability? Any state created in the Southeast will always be viable. I can assure you of that. The people of the region are very hardworking, can easily pay off that, and there are still enough mineral resources in that area that will be exploited and then earn money for the new state.
The Senate says it will now screen the newly appointed service chiefs tomorrow, Wednesday, October 29, reversing its earlier decision to conduct the exercise next week. The announcement came shortly after Senate President Godswill Akpabio read a separate correspondence from President Bola Tinubu seeking the confirmation of appointment of Chief of Defense Staff, General Olufemi Oloyede. Akpabio said the change was necessary to enable the military chiefs to assume their duties immediately. The Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, has approved the deployment of 42,000 officers for the Anambra governorship election, billed for Saturday, November 8, 2025. Egbetokun said this on Tuesday at the meeting of the Interagency Consultative Committee on Election Security held at INEC headquarters, Abuja. The IGP, who was represented by the Commissioner of Police for Special Intervention Squad, Abayomi Shogunle, said pre-election deployments would begin on November 1. We'll take a break. When we return, we talk about the reactions of some financial experts to the removal of Nigeria from the FATF grey list. Stay with us. Welcome back. The chairman of a Chi local government area, Chima Boniface Njoko, has dismissed allegations that his administration is collecting illegal levies from heavy-duty drivers. Speaking in an interview with our correspondent, Boniface Njoko said his team have only been working to curb illegal activities allegedly carried out by some drivers in collaboration with policemen deployed to the area. He claimed that these drivers, together with the officers, have been extorting motorists through multiple levies.
All those things are fake. There is baseless. Tell them to bring the proof of it. I told them, leave that road. Multiple taxation is not good within my jurisdiction. Carry that here, whatever you have. I'm not a unionist. Carry it and go to their own local government. And leave my territory alone. You are constituting nuisance. And what they are doing does not have any weight of what they are saying. I can't come from Imo State and they are constituting nuisance in the local government. I can't reduce to myself to union.
The Chair Council chairman further revealed that he has reported the matter to both the Commissioner of Police and the Inspector General of Police. He also accused the protesting drivers of being sponsored by a faction within their union and by police officers who have abandoned their official duties to engage in multiple taxation.
I have written to the CID through Commission of Police, and the funny part of it is when there are some police boys, they are part of this guy and they are policemen. He should leave the road alone. I have also written to IG about the two working in the Department of Deputy Commissioner of Police in Operation River State. They are working, they are collecting revenue. They have left their primary duty and collecting revenue of this state. Policeman. These people don't want to leave River State alone. I tell them no to multiple taxation. I'm not internal board of revenue.
Following persistent complaints from riders about Bolt drivers in Port Harcourt demanding extra cash and using poorly maintained vehicles, app-based drivers in Port Harcourt have raised concerns over what they describe as poor management, lack of consideration, and growing frustration from Bolt and its related app-based companies. Speaking in an interview with correspondent Rejoice Amadi shortly after a town hall meeting involving Bolt, Uber, and InDrive drivers, the vice chairman of the Amalgamated Union of App-Based Transport Workers of Nigeria, Rivers State Chapter, Nnamdi Ogechukwu, lamented that most drivers no longer make enough profit to maintain their vehicles. Mr. Ogechukwu explained that the app fares no longer reflect current economic realities, forcing some drivers to request extra payments from riders.
And the pitiable part of it is that the app companies have not performed well. They have emasculated the drivers, frustrated them, their policies are one-sided, their prices are nothing to write home about. What I want to make the riding public realize is that it is because the prices are not commensurate with the current economic indices. That is why you see that some of the cars are not what you should see them be. The business is where the drivers are supposed to get money to fix the car. So if the fares are ridiculous, where do they get money to fix the car? So we want to fix the prices the way it should be now, and there's no going back on that.
Also speaking, a driver, Cynthia Ichi-Former, said they may embark on strike if after their meeting, nothing good comes out from the app companies.
The payment that we get from the job is not enough for us to maintain our cars. We don't have problem with the passengers. It's so unfortunate that passengers are being affected in the process. It will get to a point that passengers will on app and will not see drivers in both again. It is getting to that point if they don't pick up and correct the wrong. The percentage they collect from Lagos is different from what they collect from Port Harcourt. Why? Are we not all Nigerians? One of those things when we are scared, we see that, they're going to block us. Who cares anymore? When new apps are coming up, the only truth is there are so many apps that are begging. It's modern day slavery for Christ's sake.
The Port Harcourt Zonal Chairman of Pengassan, George Nwoko, says the plan by Dangote Refinery to increase its production capacity will not make any difference in the consumption rate of the country. Nwoko told correspondent Subiruwari that the move will have a ripple economic impact on the economy, but more to the benefits of the Dangote Refinery. He, however, explained that until the federal government keeps off from managing the nation's refineries, the country will continue to rely on external supply.
Let the companies own higher percentage of the shares. Let government have less percentage. So the decision-making process will be seamless. You cannot run the refineries as a corporation. Today, NNPC is a full-fledged limited liability company. So they should run the refinery the way every other business entity will run the business. They need to adopt the NLNG model. The NLNG model is working because the IOCs have, the NOCs have shares in that business, and it's running seamlessly.
A financial analyst and lecturer at the Ignatius Ajuri University of Education, Debbie Nwiado, says the trust deficit plaguing the country's economic system may have been addressed following the removal of Nigeria from the Financial Action Task Force (FATF) watch list Dr. Chinedu made this known in an interview with correspondent Ibiruwari. He said it has restored confidence in investors willing to do business in.
To mean that debtors can trust better. We are credit-worthy. What they say is that Nigerians have tried, that the EFCC and the rest of those agencies have tried to reduce money laundering. We could be trusted as a nation. The incidences of money laundering and fraudulent monetary transactions are reduced in Nigeria, so we are not to really bother about them. Creditors can trust us. People wanting to do investments can trust us.
The financial analyst, however, urged the relevant government agencies to sustain the efforts. Also, a professor of finance and investment, Professor Omiete Victoria, has described Nigeria's removal from the Financial Action Task Force grey list as a sign of rare economic progress. Professor Victoria spoke on Nigeria Info FM's Hard Facts on Monday.
Delisting us from the grey list shows that we will have more direct investment now, both foreign investment, direct foreign investment, and international funding as well as other collaborations to boost our economy. Investors as well will not trust the economy and have confidence that when they invest, they will get their returns on investments. These foreigners will no longer be afraid of doing business with us because our financial reputation is restored. In fact, removing us from that list is a signal that the Nigerian economy is experiencing real progress.
She explained that to maintain the delisting status, Nigeria must continue to comply with FATF standards and strengthen the work of the existing financial task force to ensure full compliance and international anti-money laundering regulations. Recall that in February 2023, Nigeria was placed on the grey list after the FATF identified strategic deficiencies in its anti-money laundering and countering the financing of terrorism systems. However, over 2 years later, the FATF removed Nigeria from the list following the country's successful implementation of a 19-point action plan aimed at strengthening its framework. On the international scene, Sudan's military chief has confirmed the army's withdrawal from its last western stronghold of El Fasher after the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces, RSF, declared control of the city. It comes after the United Nations raised the alarm over reports of atrocities committed by the RSF in recent days and has called for safe passage for trapped civilians. The RSF denies killing civilians. It now controls all 5 state capitals in Darfur, consolidating its parallel administration in Nyala, the capital of South Darfur. More than 150,000 people have died in the conflict, which began across the country in April 2023, and about 14 million have fled their homes. On the news this evening, you heard analysts have reacted to the activities of the River State House of Assembly more than a month after they resumed from suspension. The acquittal and discharge of alleged murderers of police inspector in Kana sparked comments. The Senate has now rescheduled the screening of new service chiefs to tomorrow, Wednesday. Financial experts have aired their opinions on the removal of Nigeria from the FATF grey list. On the foreign scene, thousands have been trapped in besieged Sudanese city amid fears of mass killings. The news was edited by Onyekachi Wonsu. To reach the news team, send an SMS or WhatsApp to 0808 721 7215. I'm Sam Chinedu. Thanks for listening.